Hello Tutors, it's Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. Yesterday I believe I was giving you a build vlog update. I think that was number 1 on my Soviet T-28 tank from World War II, early World War II and before World War II. I just gave you a brief update, or not so brief update on that, and I did mention that I'd got some Russian tank crew figures coming, soft plastic figures. And they arrived, as you can see, they're in front of you. So I thought we'd give a quick look at them. It's got to be 35 years or more since I've held soft plastic figures. I went from modelling to painting war games figures and things. So it's been mainly some very occasionally 28mm hard plastics and that, but mostly metal with a few resin figures thrown in. So it's been a bit of a game changer again, having a look at these soft plastic figures. So we'll just move the camera angle down. Now this box is made by a company called Orion, I believe in the Ukraine. They have it's 1:72 scale. I've measured it with my ruler, and it's approximately about 22mm from foot to eye. That's how I've measured it. They come in this very soft plastic. There's 13 poses with 39 figures in a box. As you can see, they really are big, fat, chunky sprues. But they are very, very soft figures in like an orangey brown plastic. So we'll go from left to right and then down to the sprue underneath. There's no point showing you the others, they're all the same. We've got one here, the usual bloke with a big spanner, and he's got one of those soft, almost like Afghanistan caps on that you'd see Russians in their war in Afghanistan in the 80s. You could, I suppose, putting them up, going up to a drive wheel or something. As you can see, a fair bit of flash. Mould lines, which you're going to get that on any figure. Bits out of his hat there. What I've found is I'll show you the few figures I've cut off the sprue already on one of the sprues, and we'll have a look at those in a bit on the clean-up side of it. But yeah, he seems to be in summer uniform. Now this is for 1939 to 1942, it says on the box. This guy here's got that early Russian cap on, with a point in the ear flaps before the Ushanka came in, probably. I'd imagine he looks like he's got the overalls on, which were looking up when I've been doing some research on Russian tank uniforms. That was like a grey blue by the look of it, going to a lighter blue. And at first I thought well, if that's a few track links, they're a bit undersized, but it's actually a box of stick grenades in a bag. Well, I presume they're stick grenades. Actually, it could be shells, couldn't they? That was my thought last night. They were stick grenades for self-defense, but actually looking at it, I think they're meant to be shells, which would. I wondered why he was heaving away. I thought the stick grenades aren't going to be that heavy, so yeah, let's say they're shells. And he's got the I call them jack boots as they're Russian, but the normal Russian boots. They've mostly got, all of them seem to have mostly haversacks, and sometimes pistols. This guy here, again, lots of mould line and flash on him. I'm actually using him. I've actually cut out the pistol he's holding, and just flattened it out as as I could as part of the jacket, because he's actually going to be looking into that tank engine bay that I've made up. I mean, facial details are decent enough. Let's turn him around. mean, I'm not saying that's a padded, if it's supposed to be a padded jacket. They've normally got the lines where they've got the insulation in, but again, I'll have another look before I start painting these properly. I'll have another look. We've got our man signalling here. Obviously, a lot of early Russian tanks didn't have radios. Well, this tank actually was bucking the trend. Actually, the T-28 did have radios. Again, he's got his goggles over his peak. Now, I don't know, I mean, the British Army, we have a flag. I can, for the life of me now, remember what the colour was, but if a vehicle breaks down, you're supposed to put a flag up to show, you know, vehicles that you've broken down or whatever. And because mine's going to be a broken down tank, I have tried to put in the search engine, you know, flags for Russian tanks that are broken down, but I'll have another look at that. But I'm not going to use this guy for the moment. But he's in again that early war peak cap, almost like the riding breeches and the long boots. I found these really easy to obviously they're soft plastic, and you forget just how easy they are to actually cut things off. And you know, on that side of it, they're great. This guy was quite good. He's got his teapot. He's got his Ushanka on, folded up, again with goggles on. Sidearm for self-protection, obviously. I still might use him. I've not cut one off the other sprue at the moment, but I might have him on the ground just for a bit of extra, because all my guys otherwise will be on the tank itself. But I quite like that figure. He's quite good. And the next one, which I'm using, was Tank Commander with the early helmet. See the early pad rather than the padded one. With the padding that goes obviously in ridges along the head and along the brow. This is well, I mean, it does the same thing, but it's more like almost like a motorcycle type helmet. And he's actually my tank commander for my my little dio. And I'm going to have him talking to the guys on the engine deck, or the guy on the engine deck. So that's oh no, we've got this last guy here. He's all duffled up, got a nice thick jacket on, again pointy hat, and just because they've got, I mean obviously these are self-protection sidearms, so you know they don't have to be officers. Again, lots of flash on it. Now the one problem I've had is cleaning the flash off. I forgot how easy it is to leave the little almost tears in the soft plastic, even when I've put a sanding stick on them. And it's been quite problematical. So I'll see what that looks like when I've got to work on them a bit more. There's a lot of these, but like this guy's got, well, we'll go on this one first. He's got his pistol in his hand, obviously, his rope down so he can drop his pistol and it's still attached to him. I would say he looks like he's got the overalls on. Do you think so? Yeah, I'd say he's got the blue overalls on. And the more, as we see to this day with the Russian tank helmets, it's canvas with padding in. And they've all got goggles on. This guy again, all got his big thick leather jacket on, with looks like a very pistol. So put a flare up. Big gauntlets on, and again he's got the more modern style that we know of with the Russian military, Soviet military. Nice poses. I do actually prefer whether it's 1:35 scale, this scale, whatever. I prefer tank crews at rest rather than, or even dioramas at rest rather than in attacking poses, because I think they just end up looking more like toy soldiers in attacking poses. That's just my point of view. This guy here again, early uniform, and he's got, I'd imagine you've got him with a shirt there. He's got his gauntlets on, obviously cleaning the barrel out. Well, you'd have to probably get a piece of wire, I think, and take that out and try and get yourself a piece of wire in there just to make it a bit straighter. Again, haversack over his shoulder. Unless that's a gas, unless that's respirators, gas masks, I don't know. This guy here's got, I'd imagine it's supposed to be a grease gun with his little oily rag, again with a summer type cap on. And I'd imagine that's another overalls, looks like another blue overalls. Now this is the only seated figure which surprised me in a tank crew set. I would have thought they'd have had a couple of, you know, rather than the more action poses, I'd have preferred a couple of sitting poses. And this is the only sitting pose. And I'm going to have him sat in the turret of one of the machine gun turrets on my tank. The one that I've cut open. And then this guy with his his binocular case here. Again, you could put him in a turret, or just standing on the tank or at the side of the tank, whatever. And again, he's in, I think, the blue overalls again. So they're all your poses. What do I think of them? I think the poses are really good. The plastic's soft enough to work with, but let's just see if I can get this guy here. This is one of these I've cut off the base. See all the little... No, I'm going to have to get rid of that because there's no way I can paint with that. There's lots of little bits of sticky up that I've tried to demold line with a scalpel, and I've failed abysmally. There's bits all over them. So that's my main concern. I didn't want to use metal War Games figures because they look like War Games figures to me, no matter what brand they are. And although these are more War Games figures, playthings, whatever you want to call them, I don't know. I do think they'll probably, if I can just tidy them up better, they will probably make a better diorama figures. So going back to it, yeah, the colour of the plastic's decent. You know, it's not, if it's dark, you know, you might not see the details so well, especially if you're an old timer like me. I think the poses, they're an early war set, that's great. I think probably the only thing slightly going against it, and that's nitpicking, is because they've tried to cover all the bases with the uniforms. You actually don't always have the variety that you might want. I would have preferred to have seen, say, a winter or a cold weather look in the 1939-42 box, and then 42, 45, you know, whatever, and consequently, obviously, get this, like this guy here, a warm look, if that makes sense, because it stops you using a lot of figures together, which is a shame. A couple I've got away with, such as the chap, I'm just trying to find him for us, where is he? Yeah, this guy here, I've gone and butchered him. There's nothing left of him. Oops. And he probably even lose his arm yet, because all it'll show through the visor. I've got the vision block down for the driver, and he's going to be the driver, and you'll literally just see the head. I've got to find some way of sticking him in yet. But yeah, so they're easy figures to cut up, and any people that use these type of figures will know that anyway, but for someone like myself that's never touched them, they're easy figures to cut up. I'm just a bit worried at the moment how they're cleaning up. I'm going to try and use different grades of sanding sticks. I have used some sanding sticks, and it just seems to rough up the plastic even more. So that's a bit of a worry. But yeah, if I gave them out of 10, what would I give them? I'd probably give them an 8 out of 10 at the moment. I'm quite happy with them, apart from they're not cleaning up as well as I'd hoped, which is why they've got an 8 rather than a 9. But I think the poses are great. You know, it's nitpicking to say, you know, that they're a manufacturer, they've got to make money, so, you know, you can't just have boxes and boxes. You've got to try and cover all the bases. I understand that, so it's just nitpicking really. But yeah, it would have been probably better on my side of it just to have a winter crew or a summer crew rather than mix them up. it just means that you'd have a bit more, and it only needs a hat, and you could probably do that yourself anyway. Cut the hat off and make another one. So guys, thank you very much for stopping by and taking a look. It's something worth considering if you're doing a diorama, and you're after something a bit different, different poses and whatever. Give them a go. I'm going to paint these with probably like a polyurethane primer from like Vallejo, just to hopefully stick on them a bit better, and then paint them as normal and give them a varnish over. I mean, they're not going to be handled once they're on the diorama, so that's perfectly adequate for me. So guys, thank you very much for stopping by and taking a look. I hope everything's going well with you, and we will catch each other very soon on yet another video. Cheers.